Stephen A., you made a point to really highlight that, as did I, and I think it's important, and many people did. Whoa, before you pass information along like that, you better be careful, particularly around this time of year when teams have reason to lie to media about a player whose value they want to depress in the draft. All that said, so I'm very aware of that. Do I want to know more? Yes, because when I have followed up with some people and asked, what are you hearing about that stuff, study habits and stuff like that, I'm hearing things like, well, he's making all the right reads anyway. It's not about the study habits with him so much. And I would like to know more. And let's take race out of it for a second this way. You can't really separate it from race, but take like Ryan Leaf or Peyton Manning. Who was better? Who would you draft? Well, you would want to know more about how serious is Ryan Leaf about studying the playbook, stuff like that, right? And that's all I'm saying. Right now, my eyeballs say that guy is Kyler Murray's the best quarterback, but it's not about right now. How is he going to compare to, say, Dwayne Haskins over the long haul? So questions about how does he study and those kind of things are important. I do not know that he will be the best quarterback over the long haul. He very well may be, but I do have questions.
Here's my thing, and I'm going before you, Tedy, because your expertise should cap the conversation as opposed to me interjecting after you. Let me say this. First things first. I'm tired of hearing about Charlie Casserly just reporting from the NFL scouting combine. You act like, Max, and I shouldn't say you're acting like, because you're quoting him, and I respect where you're coming from. But I heard it differently, because there's one thing to report the information. There's another thing to come across as vehement and emphatic in articulating and elocuting a position that was given to you by somebody else, owning it as your own, as if you yourself feels that way. And rather than read the quotes, the producers for First Take, can we please hear Charlie Casserly speak for a second, please, on Kyler Murray? Play that sound for me.
Number one, because this was not good. This was the worst comments I ever got on a high-rated quarterback.
Really?
And I've been doing this a long time. Leadership, not good. Okay, study habits, not good. The board work, below not good. Not good at all in any of those areas, see? And raising major concerns about what this guy's going to do.
Now, listen to that. And what do you get? Did you hear him say, excuse me, this isn't consistent with what we've seen at Oklahoma. 42 touchdowns, just 7 interceptions, 4,300 passing yards, over 1,000 rushing yards, accounted for 54 touchdowns. He can beat you with a 60-yard bomb or a 60-yard run. No. Did we sit up there and say, listen, in all my years, this is what I'm shocked at what I heard, because it just doesn't vibe with the facts based on what we saw on a collegiate level. But this is what they're saying. No, this man came across as if, oh my goodness, look at what I'm hearing, and I've got to believe this stuff. That's how he came across. And it did not escape me that as I was watching the other night, when the news came down about Odell Beckham Jr. and the news came down about other people on the NFL Network, Charlie Casserly was nowhere to be found. But I don't work for that network, so I won't get into that. It's just something that struck me as more than a coincidence. Here's the thing about Kyler Murray. Think about what he brings to the table. He's a pocket passer. There were questions about his height. He answered it. There was questions about his weight. He answered it. There were questions about his hand size. He answered it. When you take all of those things into consideration, combined with the numbers, combined with the credentials, combined with the fact that after sitting down for 2 years, backing up Baker Mayfield after transferring, he comes and not only succeeds Baker Mayfield, but eclipses him numbers-wise, not to mention also winning a Heisman, also taking Oklahoma to the college football playoffs. Any trepidation that you may have had? Look at Alabama. Alabama went up 21-0 on them in the college football playoffs. What did they do? They said, excuse me, the scouting report shows that Kyler Murray, the one time he is a bit inaccurate is when you pressure him and force him to get rid of the ball quicker. Now, sometimes he'll scurry out and run all over you. But other times he'll try to throw passes, and occasionally they're more errant than usual. Alabama tried that. They went up 21-0, and they spent the last 3 quarters of their game against Oklahoma in the playoffs running for their life, for crying out loud, because they were scared to death at what Kyler Murray was going to give to you. So the answer to the question is very, very simple. I think right now he should be perceived as the best in the draft because when we look at Haskins, we're basically talking about him throwing. I was the fool that mentioned him running, and I own that. But the bottom line is I never confused him as being somebody that was Kyler Murray. He's a dual threat, Teddy, and I'm going to pay attention to that.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, I think he's going to be the #1 overall pick. He's the best quarterback in the draft, in my opinion. He can, like you said, Stephen A., he can throw from the pocket. I love the way he's handling the draft process because Kyler knows what questions he had to answer at the combine. You know, it was my hand size, it was my height, it was my weight. I did that, and you know what? That's all you're going to get. No, I'm not going to run a 40. So he gets to his pro workout, and all he does is mainly throw from the pocket. I think he rolled out just once. But you want to see me throw from the pocket, that's what I'm going to do. I don't have to run any T-tests for you. I'm not going to run any 40 tests for you because you know what? What basically Kyler Murray is saying is, watch the tape. Watch the tape, watch me throw from the pocket, watch me around my teammates, watch me use my playmaking ability and my athletic ability, peep my accuracy, see what I can do, watch the tape, I'm the best in the draft, and go ahead and talk to my coaches because my coaches vouch for me. That's why all of these smoke screens around these draft process and meetings, if I were Kyler Murray, I'd stop the interview process. I'd stop it all. The Arizona Cardinals they didn't even have a presence hardly at the workout because I think they know too. You talk about a quarterback that's a perfect fit for a system and a coach. It's Cliff Kingsbury, what he wants to do, how he wants his quarterback to be an athlete, how he can be creative with his quarterback. That's the playmaker. You have it in Kyler Murray. Kingsbury knows that. I think the Arizona Cardinals know that. All of those answers. This is just the hoops. And Kyler's saying, I'm not running through your hoops. I'm just showing you what I think you need to see. I'm not going to jump through your hoops. Just pick me #1 because there's a reason I won the Heisman.